Why do so many men struggle with submitting to God? Hey, what's up? It's Patrick. It's Rose via Fire. And I pray this message reaches where it needs to reach. So let's talk about why do so many men struggle with submitting to God? You know what I'm saying? Have y'all noticed it? Why do so many men struggle with submitting to God? I'm going to give y'all the reasons. So one of the reasons is toxic masculinity. And for some of you who don't know what toxic masculinity mean, bro, it just mean that they toxic and they overly masculinity prideful, bro. They filled with pride in their masculinity. Bro, they filled with pride in their masculinity. They filled with pride in that area of their masculinity, bro. I'm telling you, bro. They have this toxic masculinity of the niguity. Bro, and one thing, bro, that I realized is that toxic masculinity is actually poison. It actually kills. It destroys you. And then, like, a lot of these men, they have this ego to whereas they think they know everything. And a lot of these men, they think that submission is weak and submission is a feminine thing. A lot of these men, they think that submission is a feminine thing. Even when it comes to submitting to God, they think that that's feminine to submit. So you think it's feminine to submit to God? Bruh, these men, they so prideful, they think it's feminine to submit to God. And why is feminine a bad word? Why do you label feminine as a bad, you know what I'm saying? Now for a man, it could be different, but at the same time, it's like, what's going on for real? What is all this toxic male pride that these men is trying to hold up? And then these men be wondering why they break down. They end up on drugs, they end up smoking. Because the things of this world, you can't bear by your own. You're going through unbearable things. And one thing that when you submit to God, it lifts the burdens off of your shoulder. You're putting too much tension on your shoulder. You're carrying too much weight. You're carrying too much weight in your chest. You're carrying too much weight on your shoulder. You're going to break. It's not about are you going to break. It's about when are you going to break. Because you are 100% going to break. It's a fact. It's not about are you going to break. It's about when are you going to break. When you going to break. To whereas you going to break, bro. I'm telling you, bro. When you don't submit to God, you going to break. When you think you know everything and you carrying around, you chest up like a gorilla, you going to break. The question is not, are you going to break? The question is, when are you going to break? When you going to shed them tears? You know, when you going to break down? You going to break down. I'm telling you. Because this world is designed for you to break down. And you got to understand something. This world is ran by a lot of spiritual demonic forces. So you may think you have all these muscles and stuff. But let me tell you something though. You are fighting against legions and legions and legions of demons and legions of fallen angels that control the systems of this world, right? So you're just one man with all these muscles. Oh, I'm tall. I got all these muscles fighting against legions and legions of demons and principalities of the air of this world, corrupt forces, dark forces. You got to understand, these demons have superpowers. Man, a demon throw one punch, it sends you flying across the street. You're going to fly across the map. That's just one demon, though. But we talking about legions of demons and fallen angels and Lucifer and the devil. That's what you up against in this world. So when you have all this toxic masculinity, oh, I could do everything, bro. I don't need God, bro. I ain't gonna submit to God, bro. Submission is feminine, bro. Da, 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 da. Failing to realize you playing chess with the devil. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose because that toxic masculinity is gonna poison your own blood. It's gonna poison your own psyche, bro. And the devil's sitting back playing chess with you like, bro, you're losing. Because you failed to submit to God, bro. Don't you know it's a beautiful thing for a man to submit to God, bro? You ain't know that? You ain't know that. It's a beautiful thing for a man to submit to God, bro. It's not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. Know what I'm saying? When you submit to God, bro, I'm telling you, bro, it's a sign of strength. It is not a sign of weakness. It is not a feminine trait for you as a man to submit to God, bro. It is a sign of strength. But the devil got these people thinking, man, submitting to God is weak, bro. Like, I don't want to submit to God, bro. I got an ego, bro. I got a chest, bro. I'm King Kong, bro. How are you a King Kong fighting against demonic forces with superpowers? Demonic energy and superpowers. Talking about like demons that could get to you in your sleep. When you're sleeping, knocked out, sleeping. These demons could attack you through nightmares and through all type of stuff. You are 100% vulnerable to one demon, let alone a legion. What? A legion, bro? You ain't even ready for no legion, bro. Legions of demons, bro. And evil fallen angels and evil spirits. That's what you're battling in this world. Talking about you got everything figured out. What do you got figured out, really? You pretending now. You playing with crying. You a grown man playing with cryings. Talking about you got everything figured. You still in grade 1. You still playing checkers, bro. Still playing checkers. But don't you know that when you submit to God, it gives you strength? Don't you know that when you submit to God, it gives you peace? To whereas you don't have to depend on drugs and empty sex with all these women who gonna put you on child support and put you all these trouble. Don't you know when you submit to God, it's a sign of power and strength, and it lifts all these burdens off of your shoulder? Don't you know that you're just human? Don't you know that you have 2 legs? You forgot you had 2 legs. Hold on though. You forgot that you're just a speck of dust compared to God in size, bro. You forgot that when you zoom out of your life, you become smaller. You forgot that when you zoom out of your life, you become smaller each time. You think life revolves around you, bro. You think the whole solar system revolves around you. Meanwhile, when you scroll out, when you zoom out of the map of Earth, you get smaller and smaller until you turn into like a speck of like a grain of sand, bro, compared to God. You become a grain of sand compared to God, bro. But yet, you think you got everything figured out. A grain of sand got everything figured out in a vast cosmos of reality. How does a grain of sand, right, have everything figured out in the cosmos of reality? You tell me, if that's not delusional, I don't know what is. Bro, that is delusional 101. That is delusion 101. That is the delusion of the aspiration, of negation, of graduation, of delusionization, man. You delusionized, bro. I'm telling you, you are delusionized to think that you don't, bro, you are delusionized to think that submitting to God is a weak thing. Submitting to God is a powerful thing, bro. It's the most powerful thing you can do. Know what I'm saying? And then a lot of these men be picking up like smoking and drinking and having all this random empty sex with all these people, trying to fill a void because the pressure and the things of this life is too strong for them. Well, you say you don't need God. You say you got everything figured out. You'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? You'll be all right until you won't. Until you won't. Until you crack and be like, you know what? Let me humble myself down, bro. Let me submit to God, bro. Let me humble my butt down. Let me sit my butt down and understand that I'm a human being, bro. So I can really submit to God for real. Let me sit myself down, bro. Because I'm tripping. Let me repent for thinking that I don't need God, bro. Let me repent, bro. Let me fall back, bro. Let me fall back. Now, some people, when they break down, they humble themselves down before God and they submit to God. And other people, when they break down, they hate God even more. An interesting concept. A fascinating phenomenon, bro. A fascinating phenomenons. You feel what I mean? A fascinating conundrum. Some men, when they break down, they like, you know what, bro? I'm going to submit to God. Other men, when they break down, they gain more pride and they hate God even more. A fascinating conundrum, paradox. This is a paradigm of like the foolishness of man, bro. Foolishness of man 101. But, you know what I'm saying? For the men who do break down and they start hating God more and they don't want to humble themselves down, I mean, it is what it is, bro. God ain't going to force you to submit to him, bro. God is not going to force you to submit to him. It is what it is. It's your personal choice. But don't be surprised when you find yourself broken in hell, burning forever, and the extra benefits of the fruits of your disobedience. These people be speaking disobedience and ease. And then they expect the gifts of blessing and ease. You about to get blessed for disobedience and ease? Oh, please, no. But pretty much, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about, man. Peace.